Back here at home in Little Rock, both sides have rested in the road rage murder trial of a man accused of killing a 3-year-old boy. Testimony began earlier today in the trial of Gary Holmes. He's charged with shooting Asen King just before Christmas in 2016 as King sat in the back seat of his grandmother's car. Fox 16's Tyler Thomason in court today. He joins us live with more on what happened in court. Tyler?
Kevin, good evening. Yeah, quite a bit to unpack here after day one of the trial of Gary Holmes. Today, the jury heard testimony from 8 witnesses who were called to the stand. They also heard audio from a recorded interview between the suspect, Gary Holmes, and a Little Rock police detective. And they also saw traumatic photos of Asen King during his autopsy. We're going to take a look at some video from earlier this morning. This is Holmes arriving to the Pulaski County Courthouse in downtown Little Rock. In court today, he wore a bow tie and glasses and did not appear to show much of any emotion. In his recorded interview with police that was played in the courtroom, he was heard sobbing when he learned that a 3-year-old had died as a result of that suspected road rage shooting, saying, quote, "It hurt his heart." In the recording he described the situation as getting out of the car with the gun and then the gun going off. That's what was played on that audio recording. And leading into today, it was reported that Holmes and his defense attorney, Ronald Davis, were not quite getting along. We asked Davis about that today, and here's what he had to say. It's been reported that you and Mr. Holmes has had some differences leading up to the trial. Where does that stand right now?
Well, all families have differences here and there, but bottom line is I'm here to represent him, do the best I can, present the case in the light most favorable to him as best I can, and we'll see what happens.
Now, the most emotional moment that probably came today was when the jury was shown those autopsy photos, and the medical examiner on the stand described the injuries to Asen King and his cause of death, and members of King's family actually left the courtroom during that testimony. But for now, tomorrow the trial is scheduled to continue at about 9:30 in the morning, where the state and the defense are going to give closing arguments, and then the case will be handed off to the jury for deliberation, and a trial that could last 2 days or so, or a day and a half, even though it was expected to possibly last 3 days. Live in Little Rock, Tyler Thomason, I'll send it back to you.
Yeah, Tyler, things seem to be moving rather quickly. You mentioned 8 witnesses testified today. I know one of them was actually in the car with Holmes at the time of the shooting. What did she have to say?
Yeah, so her testimony is pretty interesting. She was the one that was in the car. It was actually her car. She, Holmes, and another individual were in when police say Holmes got out and fired that deadly shot. Now, she said on the stand that in the moments after the shooting, about a day or so after, Holmes had spoken to her, talked to her, and she is the one that told him that she had found out a 3-year-old had died. And basically, her testimony was that Holmes told her, "Don't say anything, I won't say anything," and that was what he was kind of instructing her to do. And then she said that he continued to call her multiple times after that day, and then she basically cut off all contact with him, went to police, initially lied about what she saw, but then told the jury on the stand that she did give the truth behind what happened. So a lot to unpack here after day one, a lot of testimony, a lot of evidence that was presented. It'll be interesting to see how it all unfolds going into tomorrow when the jury gets the case.
Yeah, and that's pretty powerful testimony on her part. We'll see how the jury interprets it in the coming days. All right, Tyler, thanks. And of course, we'll have continuing coverage of this case on TV and online. If you visit the Fox 16 app right now and click on more local news, you'll get a timeline of this case. You'll also see a video of Asen King's grandmother in her own words.